The sky above the frontier city was always gray. Thick clouds moved slowly, heavy with dust and smoke. Broken towers stood like dead giants, their metal bones twisted and burned. This place was once full of people, noise, and light. Now it was quiet, except for distant alarms and the low hum of alien ships passing overhead. Evan moved carefully through the rubble. He kept his head down and his steps slow. Every sound mattered. A loose stone could mean death. He was not a soldier. He was a technician, trained to fix machines, not fight wars. His clothes were torn and his boots were worn thin. On his left wrist was a dull metal band, old and scratched, something he had found years ago in a forgotten human lab. It had never done anything before. It was just there. The air suddenly grew cold. Evan stopped walking. His breath caught in his throat. He felt it before he heard it. A deep pressure pressed down on his chest, as if the sky itself was pushing closer. He knew that feeling. Everyone on this planet knew it. Gravity weapons. He looked up. 3 alien ships hovered above the city, dark and sharp, shaped like broken blades. Their engines made no sound, but the air around them bent and shimmered. Below them, alien soldiers marched between ruined buildings. They were tall and thin, wrapped in dark armor that reflected no light. Their steps were slow and heavy, as if the ground feared them.
Evan pressed himself against a broken wall.
His heart pounded. The aliens were hunting again. They had come to clear the city, to take prisoners, or kill anyone left behind. Humans had tried to run, to hide, to fight. None of it worked. A loud pulse echoed through the streets. The ground shook. A nearby building collapsed inward, crushed as if an invisible hand had squeezed it. Metal screamed. Stone cracked. Dust exploded into the air. Evan clenched his teeth. That was the gravity pulse. 1 shot could flatten a street, 2 could erase a city block. No shield could stop it. No armor could resist it. He stayed still. He did not breathe. The aliens moved closer. One of them raised a weapon, long and smooth, glowing faintly at its center. The air around the weapon twisted. Evan felt his legs weaken as gravity thickened, pressing him toward the ground. Someone screamed nearby. Evan did not look. He could not. The gravity pulse fired. The world exploded with pressure. Evan felt his body pulled forward, down, and inward all at once. His bones screamed. His vision blurred. He expected pain. He expected darkness. Instead, there was silence. The crushing force vanished. Evan gasped and fell to his knees, coughing. Dust filled his lungs, but his body was whole. He looked around in shock. The street behind him was destroyed. The ground was cracked and sunken. A crushed human body lay twisted near a wall. But Evan was alive. Slowly, he looked at his wrist. The metal band was glowing. A soft blue light pulsed from it, steady and calm like a heartbeat. Evan stared, frozen. The band felt warm against his skin. Not burning. Not painful. Just warm. The alien soldiers had stopped moving. They stood perfectly still, weapons lowered slightly, heads tilted as if confused. One of them stepped forward and aimed again. Another gravity pulse fired. This time Evan felt it clearly. The force rushed toward him like a tidal wave. The air screamed. The ground trembled. Evan raised his arm without thinking, trying to shield himself. The gravity slammed into him and vanished. The blue light from the wristband flared brighter. The pressure flowed into it, like water into a drain. Evan felt a heavy pull inside his chest, deep and strange, but his body did not break. The street behind him remained untouched. A low sound came from their ranks, something between a growl and a shout. Their formation broke. Some stepped back. Others raised weapons again, unsure. Evan stood slowly. His legs shook, but they held. He looked at his hand, then at the soldiers. His mind raced. This was impossible. Gravity weapons killed everything. They did not fail. Evan felt heavier, like the air itself had weight. At the same time, he felt strong, grounded, as if nothing could push him over. An alien officer stepped forward. Its armor was marked with sharp symbols. Its voice echoed across the street through a translator field. "The human absorbs the pulse," it said. Another alien replied, its tone sharp and fearful. "That is not possible." "Fire again. Full force." Evan's eyes widened. The weapon charged. The air bent hard enough to make Evan's ears ring. This pulse would crush him. Wristband or not, the pulse fired. Evan felt the weight of a mountain press into him. His knees bent. His teeth clenched. Pain burned through his muscles. The wristband glowed brighter than ever before. The gravity force poured into it, roaring like a storm. Evan screamed as pressure filled his body, not crushing him but flooding him. His vision went white. Then it stopped. Evan collapsed forward, gasping, his hands digging into the dirt. The wristband dimmed, its light fading back to a soft glow. The alien soldiers stared. No buildings fell. No ground cracked. The pulse was gone. The officer spoke again, its voice slow now. The human is a containment unit. No, it is a weapon. His body ached, but he was alive. He looked around and saw alien soldiers aiming at him from every direction. Fear filled his chest, but beneath it was something else. A strange calm. The weight inside him felt settled, like a held breath. Capture him, the officer ordered. Alive.
Several soldiers advanced.
Evan backed away, heart racing. He did not want to fight. He did not even know how. He raised his arm again, unsure why. The wristband pulsed. The gravity around him shifted. The soldiers stumbled. Their steps became slow and heavy, as if the ground was pulling them down harder than before. One fell to a knee. Another dropped its weapon with a loud crash. Evan froze. He had done that. He lowered his arm. The pressure faded. The soldiers stopped falling. The officer stared at Evan, its dark visor unreadable. Secure him now, it said. A stun field snapped around Evan's body. His muscles locked. He fell backward, unable to move. Cold metal restraints wrapped around his arms and legs. As they lifted him, Evan's vision blurred. The wristband dimmed completely, its surface dull once more. He was carried toward one of the hovering ships. As the ramp closed, Evan looked down at his wrist one last time. The band was quiet. Still. But deep inside him he felt something heavy and awake, like gravity itself waiting to move. Above the ruined city, more alien ships descended from the clouds. The hunt was not over. Evan sat in the transport ship, his hands and legs bound with cold metal restraints. The ship hummed softly, moving through the gray clouds above the destroyed city. He could feel every vibration, every shift of the engines, and the soft pulse of his wristband, now quiet but always present. He had never been a soldier. He had never fought. But now, with the memory of the gravity pulses still pressing in his mind, he realized he was something more. Something the aliens did not understand. A shadow moved beside him. A young woman, also human, crouched in a corner of the transport. Her hair was short and dusty, and her uniform was torn. She held a small energy knife, her fingers trembling slightly. She looked up at Evan. "My name is Mira," she whispered. "We need to get out of here." Evan blinked. He wanted to say something, but the restraints held him tightly. Mira's eyes were steady. She had been trained to survive, like most humans who remained after the first attacks. Evan realized she was the kind of person who could move through enemy lines without hesitation. The ship's interior was cold and silent, lit only by dim green lights. Alien markings covered the walls, strange symbols that glowed faintly. They had weapons racks along the sides, and other humans were bound in separate cells. Most of them were unconscious or too scared to move. Outside, the ship's gravity systems were visible through narrow windows. The alien engines bent the air in strange waves. Evan could see the curvature of the clouds, twisted and swirling. A storm was building in the sky, but it was not a normal storm. Gravity itself seemed to move with the clouds, bending like water. Evan's wristband pulsed slightly. He looked at it, unsure why. It was calm now, but he could feel a weight inside him, something alive. Mira leaned closer, her voice low. "They are taking us to the gravity reactor. That is where they experiment with pulse weapons. We need to escape before they reach it." Evan swallowed hard. He did not know what to do. The wristband, however, seemed to hum in his pulse. It reacted to fear, or maybe to need. He could feel it trying to communicate. The ship shifted suddenly. An alarm rang out. Evan was thrown slightly in his restraints. Other humans shouted, "Oh." Alien soldiers ran down the narrow aisles, checking the controls. Their faces were covered with dark visors, but Evan could sense their anger and confusion. Something had changed outside. Evan closed his eyes. He focused on the pull inside him, the warmth, the weight. Slowly, he moved his hand, and the wristband glowed again. The gravity in the small area around him shifted. A soldier stumbled. Another fell to his knees. The restraints on Evan's arms creaked, but did not break. Mira gasped. "You did that," she said. "You really did that." Evan's mouth opened, but he could not speak. He could only feel the strange power in him. It was not like anything he had known. Not like a machine, not like a weapon. It was alive. The ship trembled as it hit a turbulence zone. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. The aliens shouted. Outside the window, Evan saw fragments of space debris moving rapidly toward the ship. If the ship was hit, they would all die. Panic rising. The wristband pulsed stronger. The air inside the ship thickened, pressing against everyone. Gravity around him twisted and pulled the debris slightly off course. One piece of metal slammed into the side of the ship, leaving a deep dent, but no one was injured. The aliens froze, unsure. The ship shuddered again. Evan felt the pulse inside him, growing stronger. He realized that the wristband did not just protect him. It fed on gravity, absorbed it. He wanted to test it, but he was afraid. He did not want to hurt anyone. He had already killed nothing, but he had controlled forces that could have flattened the entire ship. Mira's voice broke through his thoughts. "We can't stay here. If they repair the controls, we are dead." He could feel the pull inside him, the growing energy. If he focused, he might be able to help them escape. The restraints groaned again, and Evan concentrated. The metal bent slightly under the pull of gravity. It twisted. Slowly, the bonds on his legs snapped. He dropped to the floor, his knees hitting hard, but he was free. Mira's eyes widened. "You can control it. You really can." Outside the windows, the alien engines were straining. The ship was falling toward the alien military base below. The gravity pulse system of the ship seemed unstable. Evan felt the flow of energy. He could bend it, shift it, redirect it. He took a deep breath. The wristband pulsed bright blue, almost white. He extended his hands, and gravity bent around him. The ship's engines groaned. Metal parts rattled. A small wave of gravity lifted debris and tools from the floor. Alien soldiers screamed as they were pressed lightly to the ceiling, unable to move. Evan felt dizzy. The power was enormous. Too much for him to fully control, but the wristband kept him alive, steady. Mira grabbed his arm. "We have to go now." He nodded. Focusing again, he pulled the gravity in front of him, creating a soft shield. The front of the ship touched the ground hard, but instead of crashing, it slowed, guided by Evan's control. The ship skidded and slid, metal scraping, sparks flying, but it did not break apart. The doors opened. Smoke poured out. The humans inside scrambled to escape. Alien soldiers recovered and aimed their weapons, but Evan raised his arm. The gravity around the aliens twisted. Some fell. Others could not lift their weapons. For the first time, humans had the upper hand. Evan and Mira ran into the ruined city. The streets were quiet. Broken buildings loomed around them. Dust and smoke swirled in the air. Evan could feel the wristband still pulsing, drawing energy from the planet itself, feeding on the strange gravity fields left by the alien engines. Mira looked at him. "You saved us," she said, "but we are not safe yet. They will send more." Evan nodded. Fear and determination mixed in his chest. He had survived impossible forces. He had controlled gravity itself. But he knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would not give up, and neither would the power inside the wristband. The sky above darkened further. Alien ships appeared on the horizon more than before. Their engines bent the air, twisting the clouds, creating strange waves of pressure. Evan could feel the pull of the new ships. The wristband hummed, responding to the approaching threat. Mira grabbed his hand. "We need a place to hide. Somewhere safe. We need to learn how to control that thing fully before they find us." Evan swallowed. He looked at the broken city, the ruined towers, and the smoke rising from destroyed streets. He could feel the pulse of gravity around him, heavy and alive. For the first time, he realized he was not just a human. He was something different, something dangerous. The alien soldiers landed in the street below. Gravity pulses rippled from their weapons, small but deadly. Evan raised his arm. The wristband glowed again, absorbing the energy before it could hit the ground. Dust and debris lifted around him, swirling in strange patterns. The aliens hesitated. They did not understand what they were facing. One tried to fire another pulse. Evan felt the energy before it reached him, and it vanished into the wristband. The soldier staggered back, confused and frightened. Evan's chest heaved. He was alive. He was in control. But he also knew that every time he used the wristband, it took something from him. Energy, focus, something deep inside that he did not yet understand. The more he used it, the more dangerous it became, not just to others, but to himself. Mira pulled him toward a collapsed building. "We can hide there," she said. "It's not perfect, but it's better than running in the open." Evan nodded, following her. He felt the weight of the city, the pull of the alien forces, and the strange warmth of the wristband. He could survive, but he had to be careful. He had to learn to control the power before it controlled him. As they entered the building, the city shook again. Another pulse from the alien ships. This time Evan felt the energy spike inside him, almost too much to bear. He closed his eyes, focused, and let it flow into the wristband. The pulse was absorbed. The building trembled, but held. He opened his eyes. Mira looked at him with awe and fear. "You are not like the rest of us," she said quietly. "You are something else entirely." He did not yet understand what he had become. All he knew was that the aliens had underestimated humans. They had underestimated him. Outside, the alien ships circled the city, scanning for survivors. But for the first time, they hesitated. Gravity itself was no longer their ally. It had become Evan's weapon, his shield, and his burden. He looked at his wristband, glowing faintly now, calm but alive. He could feel the storm building inside him, waiting. The next battle was coming, and he would be ready. Or he would die trying. The ruined city was quiet once more, but the tension was heavy. Every shadow, every wind gust, every flicker of light could be the start of another attack. Evan and Mira huddled in the darkness, knowing that the fight for survival had only just begun. And in the quiet, Evan could feel the pulse of gravity calling to him, whispering promises of power, danger, and a destiny he had not yet chosen. Evan and Mira moved quietly through the broken streets of the city. The ruins stretched for miles, shadows hiding corners and alleyways. Dust hung in the air, and the smell of burned metal and ash was everywhere. The alien ships were gone for now, but Evan could feel the weight of their presence. The wristband pulsed faintly on his wrist, a steady heartbeat in the silence. They reached a large building, half collapsed but still standing. Inside, debris covered the floor. Broken furniture, shattered glass, and twisted metal created a maze. Mira led Evan to a dark corner where they could see the city from a high window. The view was terrible. The streets were empty, but smoke rose in the distance from fires that had not gone out. This was not just destruction. It was warning. "They are building a base near the old reactor," Mira whispered. "It is where they control the gravity weapons. If they finish it, no one will survive here." Evan's chest tightened. He thought of the pulses he had absorbed. The power inside him was growing, but it was still wild. He did not understand it. He only knew it responded to danger and need. If he could control it, he could fight the aliens. If not, he might lose himself. A sudden noise made them freeze. Footsteps echoed through the building. The shadows moved. 2 alien soldiers entered, scanning the room. They were tall, their armor dark, glowing faintly with energy readings. One of them carried a device that hummed and clicked. Evan could feel the device, a small pull on his wristband. It responded immediately, glowing brighter. Mira grabbed his arm. "Do something," she whispered. Evan focused. He felt the pull of gravity around the soldiers. A weight pressed down on them, slow but heavy. Their knees buckled, and they stumbled backward. Their device fell to the ground. They struggled to move, but the floor itself seemed to resist them. The soldiers shouted commands to each other, but the words were useless. They could not move. Evan felt a rush of adrenaline. He raised his hands, concentrating, guiding the force. The wristband hummed in response. The soldiers finally fell to the ground, unable to rise. Evan exhaled slowly, sweat on his forehead. Mira looked at him in awe. "You are not just surviving, you are controlling it." Evan shook his head. "I don't know how long I can keep this up. It's too much." The building trembled. The alien base near the reactor was firing pulses again. The shock waves shook the city. Evan could feel the waves of gravity moving through the ruins, a deep vibration under his feet. The wristband pulsed urgently, as if warning him. He could absorb some of it, but not all. Too much energy could destroy him. Mira grabbed a small communicator. "We need to get closer to the reactor. If we can disrupt it from inside, we can stop them." Evan nodded. They moved carefully, stepping over rubble, avoiding the streets where alien patrols might see them. The city around them was like a maze of destruction. Each building was a potential trap, each shadow a hiding place for alien soldiers. The wristband pulsed faintly, guiding him, giving him strength. They reached a service tunnel, half buried in debris. It led beneath the streets, directly toward the reactor. Evan felt the energy from the reactor even before they entered. It was massive, a constant pulse of gravity, like a heartbeat of the planet itself. The wristband vibrated in response, glowing softly. Evan could feel the connection growing stronger. Inside the tunnel, they moved slowly. The walls were cracked and damp. Water dripped from above. Strange machinery hummed in the distance, left behind by humans long ago. Mira whispered about old maps she had memorized. "The reactor has several layers. We need to reach the control room at the top. That is where the pulse weapons are managed." Evan focused on the pull inside him. He could feel the walls, the pipes, even the floor. Gravity was not just a force outside. It was flowing around them, moving with the wristband. He could bend it slightly, lifting debris or shifting small objects to make the path easier. The wristband responded with a gentle warmth, guiding him. Suddenly, the tunnel shook violently.
Reactor pulse.
Evan felt a surge of energy. The wristband glowed bright, absorbing some of the force, but the vibration was too strong. Dust and small rocks fell from the ceiling. Mira shouted, "Keep going! We have to move faster!" Evan concentrated, using the wristband to steady the debris. Slowly, carefully, they climbed over fallen beams and rubble. The deeper they went, the stronger the energy became. Evan could feel it tugging at him as if trying to merge with the wristband. He swallowed hard, afraid of losing control. Finally, they reached a chamber that led to a vertical shaft. The shaft opened into the heart of the reactor. Massive machinery surrounded them, spinning and pulsing with gravitational energy. Alien soldiers guarded the area, but Evan could sense their movements before he saw them. He raised his hand slightly. The floor beneath the soldiers twisted, a subtle shift of gravity. They stumbled, then recovered, unsure what was happening. Mira nodded at him. "We need to reach the control room. That is where the main pulse weapon is. If we can disrupt it, we can stop them." Evan clenched his fists. The wristband pulsed in his palm, responding to his determination. He focused, bending the gravity around the soldiers more firmly. Some fell, some struggled to move. The path was clear enough for them to climb the shaft. The climb was difficult. Metal ladders were twisted and broken. The walls hummed with power. Evan could feel the energy flowing through the reactor, feeding the wristband. The pull inside him was strong, almost painful. Every step required concentration, but the warmth of the wristband reassured him. When they reached the top, the control room opened before them. It was massive, filled with consoles and holographic displays. Alien operators worked frantically, unaware of Evan and Mira. The main pulse weapon stood in the center, a glowing core of energy, dangerous and alive. Evan could feel its power, a constant pull on the wristband. Mira whispered, "We have to disrupt it without triggering a pulse." Evan nodded. He focused. The wristband hummed, drawing in energy from the room, the core, even the aliens' weapons. Slowly he shifted gravity around the consoles, lifting them slightly, redirecting the energy flows. Sparks flew, alarms rang. The aliens shouted in confusion. The main pulse weapon pulsed violently, reacting to the changes. Evan could feel the surge building inside him. The wristband absorbed some of it, but more energy surged. He could feel the weight pressing down like a mountain on his chest. They shouted, "Keep going! You can do it!" Evan raised both hands, focusing every ounce of concentration. Gravity twisted and bent. The pulse weapon shuddered, sparks flying. The alien operator stumbled, unable to control the core. Evan could feel the energy merging with the wristband, feeding his strength, but also threatening to overwhelm him. With a final push, Evan released the control over the gravity field around the core. The weapon shuddered violently, then powered down. Alarms fell silent. The room was still, except for the hum of the wristband on Evan's wrist. Mira breathed heavily. "You did it. You stopped it." Evan felt exhausted, his muscles aching. The wristband glowed softly, a calm pulse now, as if satisfied. He looked around the control room. The aliens were unconscious or disoriented. The weapon was neutralized, at least for now. Evan realized something important. The wristband was not just a shield. It could absorb, control, and redirect gravity energy, but it also demanded control, concentration, and strength. Every use brought him closer to understanding it, but also closer to danger. Mira looked at him with respect and fear. "You are not just surviving. You are something else." Something they never expected. Evan nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility. The aliens would return. The reactor might be repaired. But for now, they had a chance. They had survived, and they had proven that humans were not weak. Outside, the city was quiet, but tension lingered. Evan could feel the pulse of the planet's gravity, faint but steady. The wristband hummed softly, reminding him that the power was alive, waiting and growing. The next battle was coming, and Evan knew he had to be ready. Evan and Mira left the control room quietly, moving through the corridors of the alien reactor. The air smelled of ozone and heated metal. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and the hum of gravity energy vibrated through the floor. Every step was careful. They knew the aliens could return at any moment, and the city outside was still crawling with danger. The wristband pulsed softly, a heartbeat of blue light against Evan's skin. He could feel the energy inside him, controlled but alive, like a river waiting to break its banks. Mira kept close, moving silently, her eyes scanning for any sign of patrols. They were not out of danger yet. As they reached the top level, a large window offered a view of the city and the reactor grounds below. Alien ships circled in the clouds above, their engines bending the air, creating strange waves of pressure. Evan could feel the pull of the ships, subtle but undeniable. The wristband responded automatically, drawing in the gravitational energy and stabilizing him. It was alive, aware, and attuned to the danger around him. Mira pointed to the horizon. They are preparing something big. That is not just a ship. That is a gravity cannon. If they fire it, the city will be gone, everyone in it. Evan's chest tightened. The memory of the pulses he had absorbed earlier came back. He knew he could not stop a cannon like that in the open. The wristband pulsed with warning. It was telling him something, but he did not yet understand what. He only knew he had to act. The aliens below were mobilizing. Soldiers ran along the ground, carrying devices and weapons. A large platform rose slowly from the reactor, holding the gravity cannon. Evan could feel the immense energy it generated. It was alive, like the wristband. But unlike him, it had no restraint. If fired, it would crush everything. Mira whispered urgently, "We have to stop it before they launch. We have to get to the control room of the cannon." Evan nodded. His hands clenched. The wristband pulsed brightly, reacting to his resolve. He felt the energy surge, bending the gravity around him slightly. The ground beneath them trembled as the cannon powered up. Each pulse of energy from it made the wristband glow stronger, drawing in the force, redirecting it. They moved down the corridors, avoiding patrols and traps. Alien soldiers appeared at every turn, but Evan could feel them before they reached him. He raised a hand slightly, and the floor beneath the group of them twisted, throwing them off balance. They scrambled to recover, but Evan was already moving forward. Mira followed closely, astonished at his control. Finally, they reached the platform leading to the cannon. The machinery was massive, glowing with energy, unstable. Alien operators worked frantically, unaware of Evan and Mira above them. The cannon's core pulsed, a deep, ominous rhythm. Evan could feel the waves of gravity pressing outward. His stomach churned, but he focused. The wristband pulsed with him, merging with the energy, absorbing it, controlling it. A soldier spotted them and shouted. Alarms blared. Evan felt the pulse from the cannon begin to charge, stronger than anything he had felt before. The weight pressed against him, but he did not falter. The wristband flared bright blue, a beacon of control. He raised his hands. Gravity twisted around the cannon, bending the metals slightly, creating resistance. Sparks flew from the core as the energy shifted. The soldiers tried to react, but Evan anticipated their movements. The wristband absorbed the force, pulling it away from the city, containing it within a bubble of controlled gravity. Mira shouted, "Keep going! You can hold it!" Evan gritted his teeth. The energy was immense, far beyond what he had absorbed before. The wristband glowed violently, the light reflecting off the walls. The floor beneath them vibrated, but they remained steady. The cannon trembled, unstable and dangerous. A surge of energy erupted from the core. Evan felt it pushing him back, but he held firm. The wristband absorbed the force, pulling it into him, stabilizing the surrounding gravity. Sparks flew from the machinery. Alarms screamed, and alien soldiers fell to their knees, struggling to move. Slowly, carefully, Evan redirected the energy away from the city. The cannon groaned, its structure stressed by the force he applied. He felt exhaustion creeping in, but he did not release his focus. The wristband pulsed with him, alive and strong, guiding his control. Finally, the cannon powered down, the core stabilizing. The alarms fell silent. The city below remained untouched. Evan dropped to his knees, gasping, sweat streaming down his face. The wristband dimmed, glowing softly now, a calm pulse against his skin. Mira ran to him, eyes wide. "You did it! You saved the city!" The city was quiet, smoke rising from minor fires, but intact. The alien forces were retreating, confused and disoriented. For the first time, humans had proven they could withstand alien gravity weapons. Evan felt a strange mixture of relief and fear. The wristband was quiet, but the energy inside him was still alive, waiting. He realized the power was not just a tool. It was a living force, responding to his will, but demanding control, concentration, and strength. Mira looked at him with awe. You are not just a human anymore. You are something else. Something they did not expect. Evan nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility. The aliens would return. More weapons might be built. But for now, they had survived. They had proven that humans were not weak. Outside, the city was quiet, but tension lingered. Evan could feel the pulse of the planet's gravity, faint but steady. The wristband hummed softly, reminding him that the power was alive, waiting and growing. The next challenge was coming, and Evan knew he had to be ready. As night fell over the ruined city, Evan and Mira moved to a hidden location, away from the reactor. They needed to rest, to recover, and to plan their next move. Evan could feel the wristband's warmth, a reminder of the power inside him, waiting to be used again. The fight was not over. The aliens would return, stronger and more prepared. But Evan had learned something crucial. Humans could absorb the weight of the universe itself and survive. Evan and Mira moved through the abandoned streets toward a temporary safe zone. The city was quiet now, the ruins stretching in every direction, but the tension in the air was heavy. Dust swirled in the wind, and broken buildings leaned dangerously, as if holding their breath. Evan could feel the pull of the planet's gravity, subtle but constant. The wristband pulsed softly, alive and aware, ready to respond if needed. Mira glanced at him. "We need to figure out what this thing can really do. You're stronger than anything I've ever seen, but you cannot fight the aliens forever without control." Evan nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. He had learned a lot in the past days, but the wristband was still mysterious. He could absorb and redirect gravity, but he did not fully understand its limits. Each use drained him physically and mentally, and the energy inside was alive, almost conscious. They reached a half-collapsed building that seemed defensible. Inside, they found a small group of humans hiding from the alien patrols. Children, elderly, and a few fighters with worn weapons looked at them with hope and fear. Mira introduced Evan quietly. "This is Evan. He can control gravity. He saved the city from the cannon." The humans stared. Some could not believe it. Others looked at Evan with awe. Evan felt uncomfortable with the attention. He was not a hero. He was just trying to survive. One of the older fighters, a man named Callan, spoke. "We need to take the fight to them. If we wait, they will rebuild, and the city will die. You are our advantage, Evan, but we need a plan." Evan nodded slowly. The wristband pulsed faintly, as if agreeing. He could feel the energy of the planet, the city, and even the aliens trying to reach them. He realized that the wristband could not only absorb energy, but also sense threats. It was alive, aware, and responsive. They spent hours planning. Kalen and Mira studied maps of the city and the surrounding areas. Evan focused on feeling the flow of gravity, sensing weak points, and understanding how he could manipulate energy safely. He learned that concentration was key. Any mistake could destroy not only him, but the people around him. Night fell. The city was quiet but tense. Outside, distant rumblings indicated alien ships were returning. Evan could feel the weight of their presence, the pull of gravity as the ships approached. The wristband pulsed more urgently, and he realized the next battle was near. The first attack came at dawn. Alien soldiers descended on the city in small squads, testing defenses. Evan and Mira moved quickly, positioning themselves to intercept. The wristband pulsed as Evan raised his hands. Gravity shifted subtly, slowing the soldiers' movements, making them stumble and fall. Some tried to fire, but their weapons bent strangely, the pull of the wristband interfering. Evan felt the energy surge, stronger than before. The wristband glowed bright blue. He could feel the gravity bending around him, not just affecting the soldiers, but also creating a protective shield over the humans in the building. Mira shouted, "Keep going! You can do this." Hours passed. Waves of aliens tested the defenses, and Evan learned to control the wristband more efficiently. He could absorb energy from pulses and weapons, redirect it, and even use it to push enemies back without killing them. Each time, he grew more confident, but the effort was exhausting. Sweat ran down his face, muscles ached, and his mind felt stretched. During a brief lull, Evan sat with Mira and Kalen. "I don't know how much longer I can do this," he admitted. "The wristband takes so much from me. I can control gravity, but it is not easy. It demands everything." Kalen nodded. "You are stronger than any human, Evan, but strength alone is not enough. Control, strategy, and patience matter more. You must learn to use the wristband wisely. Every action has a consequence." Evan listened, feeling the truth of it. The wristband was powerful, but he was still human. fatigue, doubt, and fear were real, and they could make him lose control. He needed to be smarter, faster, and calmer. The next attack was worse. Alien reinforcements arrived in larger ships, firing small gravity pulses into the city. Evan felt the energy rushing toward him, but he focused. The wristband absorbed the pulses, glowing brighter with each one. He felt the pressure inside him building, almost unbearable, but he held firm. The aliens began to advance on the building where the humans hid. Evan raised his hands. Gravity twisted and bent, lifting debris, flipping small vehicles, and pushing the soldiers back. The air itself seemed heavier around the invaders, slowing their movements. The humans cheered, but Evan could feel the strain. The wristband pulsed violently, demanding more energy. Mira shouted, "Evan, you have to stop now. You can't hold it forever." Evan clenched his teeth, sweat streaming down his face. He could feel the energy trying to overwhelm him, but he forced control. Slowly, carefully, he redirected some of the pressure into the ground, stabilizing the flow. The aliens stumbled and fell, unable to advance. Finally, the attack ended. The aliens retreated, confused and cautious. Evan dropped to the floor, gasping, exhausted. Mira rushed to his side. "You did it. You saved everyone." Evan shook his head. "I can't keep doing this without understanding it better. The wristband is alive. It feels everything. It reacts to danger, but I don't know its limits." Kalen placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we will help you. We need you alive, Evan. The city, the humans, and our future depend on it." Evan looked at the wristband, glowing faintly, calm for now. He realized that it was more than a weapon. It was a living force, connected to him and the world. It demanded respect, focus, and restraint. He had survived impossible forces, controlled gravity itself, and protected humans. But the aliens would return, stronger, with more weapons, and he would have to be ready. That night, as the city rested, Evan sat quietly. The wristband pulsed softly on his wrist. He could feel the energy of the planet, the city, and even the distant aliens reaching toward him. The power was alive, waiting, and growing. He knew that the next battle would be the hardest yet, and he had to master the wristband fully. Humanity depended on it. Humanity depended on him. Outside, the sky was dark, but the stars were bright. Evan looked at them, feeling both the weight and the promise of the universe. The aliens had underestimated humans. They had underestimated him. And he would not fail. Evan stood on the roof of the half-ruined building, looking out over the city. The sky was dark, thick clouds swirling above, and alien ships hovered in the distance, their engines bending the air in strange waves. The city was quiet now, but tension lingered. Every shadow, every gust of wind felt like a threat. The wristband pulsed softly on his wrist, alive and aware, ready to respond to danger. Mira stood beside him, watching the horizon. "They will come back," she said quietly. "Stronger, bigger ships, planet-breaking weapons. This is not over." Evan nodded. He could feel the pull of the aliens even now, their presence like a weight on the air. The wristband responded instinctively, absorbing and bending the invisible forces around them. He could feel the energy of the city, the planet, and even the distant aliens flowing into it. It was alive, powerful, and demanding. A distant rumble shook the building. Alien reinforcements arrived in massive ships, dark and sharp, carrying weapons that could crush entire cities. Evan felt the weight of their presence pressing down. The wristband pulsed, responding to the danger. He had to act, but he also had to control it. Too much power could destroy everything, including him. Mira grabbed his arm. "We need to stop them before they fire. You can do it." "I know you can." Evan swallowed hard. The wristband pulsed brightly, drawing in the gravitational energy around the city. He felt it merging with him, responding to his will. He raised his hands and the air around the alien ships twisted. Gravity shifted, bending their trajectories, slowing their advance. The aliens fired weapons, but Evan absorbed the pulses, redirecting the energy harmlessly into the ground. The alien commander's voice boomed through the sky, amplified by a translator field. "Surrender the human. He is a weapon of destruction." Evan did not respond. He focused on the flow of gravity around him. The wristband hummed, pulling energy from the planet itself, bending it, shaping it. The alien ships wavered, their movements slowed, their weapons unable to strike. Evan felt the pressure building inside him, heavy and intense, but he held firm. Mira shouted, "Evan, you can hold it." "Don't let them win." Evan's concentration was absolute. He felt every wave of energy, every shift of gravity, every force acting upon him. The wristband absorbed and directed it, amplifying his control. Slowly, Carefully, he bent the alien ships into place, holding them suspended, unable to move. The humans below watched in awe and fear. The aliens tried to fire a massive gravity pulse, a weapon capable of crushing the entire city. Evan felt the force approaching, a mountain of pressure. The wristband pulsed violently, absorbing the pulse, bending it into harmless arcs around the city. The air shimmered with the force, debris lifted from the streets, but no one was harmed. Evan felt the energy surging through him, almost too much to bear. Mira ran along the roof, keeping an eye on the humans below. "You're doing it!"
You're controlling it, she shouted.
Evan clenched his fists. The wristband pulsed brightly, absorbing more energy than ever before. He could feel the aliens' attempts to overwhelm him, but he held. Slowly, methodically, he redirected the pressure back toward the ships. They wavered, twisted, and then began to retreat. The alien commander's voice sounded frantic. Evan did not let up. He controlled the flow of gravity, guiding the ships away from the city, holding them in place without damaging them. It was a delicate balance, requiring every ounce of focus. The wristband responded perfectly, alive and aware, merging with his intent. Finally, the ships retreated beyond the horizon, moving carefully, unwilling to challenge the human any further. The city was safe. For now. Evan dropped to his knees, exhausted, sweat running down his face. The wristband dimmed, glowing softly, a calm pulse against his skin. Mira ran to him, her eyes wide with amazement. "You did it. You saved the city. You saved everyone." Evan shook his head. "I didn't do it alone. The wristband it's alive. It feels everything. It reacts to danger. I don't know all of its limits, but I can control it if I focus." Mira nodded. "Then we will help you. We have to. Humanity depends on it now." Evan looked at the ruins below, the streets filled with humans who had survived, their eyes full of hope and fear. The aliens had underestimated humans. They had underestimated him. But he also knew the power he held was immense, dangerous, and demanding. Every use required control, concentration, and strength. He could not falter. The sky above the city was calm for now, but the wristband pulsed softly, reminding him that the universe was alive, watching and waiting. He could feel the pull of distant stars, the weight of gravity itself, and the energy of the planet flowing through him. He realized that humanity had been underestimated, but now they were ready. Evan stood slowly, looking at Mira and Kalen, who had joined them. "The aliens will come back, stronger, more prepared. But we are not weak. We are humans. We can absorb the weight of the universe and survive." Mira smiled, her eyes filled with hope. "Then we fight. Together." Evan nodded, feeling the wristband pulsing with quiet strength. The city was safe. Humanity had survived. And the galaxy would now watch with fear and respect, knowing that humans could stand against the weight of the stars itself.